We need a motion to open the meeting.
Motion to open meeting.
Seconded?
Second.
Second, did you get that? All those in favor?
Aye.
7:30. Well, I'd like to welcome you to the Groveland Zoning Board of Appeals. I've been on the board, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, never seen this many people, so this is gonna be, this is
Full
exciting.
house.
Yeah, full house. I'd like to, my name is Tom Wakefield, and beside me immediately is Kathy Franson, Daniel McDonald, Jane Moran, Chris Reddy, alternate Michael Wood, and I'd like to welcome our new alternate tonight, Bill Dunn, probably well-known around town, and our recording secretary is Julie House. We're going to go with the agenda tonight, which is somewhere here. We're a little rusty. We haven't had a meeting for a couple of months, so we'll have to get back on something. So the first thing on the agenda tonight is application 2014-1 made by Brad Bowden for a special permit to operate an orthopedic office at the premises located at 148 Main Street, Plat 7, Lot 013, according to all applicable sections of the Town of Groveland zoning bylaws, including section 106.1 and 800. And there is a vote anticipated, so would Brad Bowden be here?
It's me.
Oh, you're here? How are you? Tell us what you want to do.
So, so I'd like to purchase existing daycare at 148 Main Street and use that building to establish an orthodontic office, not orthopedics per se, braces and things of that nature. And so I think it's just outside the business district by literally, I think, one lot. And so that's basically, I'd just like to change the non-conforming use that it is right now with the daycare to an orthodontic office. So that's what we're trying to do. But I want to thank you guys all for coming out and kind of reading over my application and taking the time to hear my application. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming. And do you have any questions of Mr. Bowden?
You know, alter the building, I mean, what's the situation over there?
Just, minor things, just putting in some dental chairs, maybe a fresh coat of paint on the inside, but nothing substantial. That was kind of the main reason I really like the building, since it's already a daycare, it's already set up for a lot of the professional codes and things like that. Plus, I don't have any money to make any big changes anyway.
Well, under section 106, non-conforming uses, it does allow for another use, provided that no such extension or alteration shall be permitted unless there is finding by the permit granting authority. So I think it's incumbent upon the board to determine whether or not the use as an
Orthodontist
office is equal to or less than the daycare. Now, parking, what's the parking situation there?
That's another reason I really like the location. There's off-street parking on each side of kind of the triangle where the property lies. And then currently there's a playground in the back that's hot topped over, but I'd probably remove the playground for additional parking. Just again, the farther we can get cars away from the street, I think the better. So.
Now, is this something that you work as sole proprietor, or do you have other people working there as well?
Just be me.
And probably.
Well, sorry, some other staff. So initially, when I opened, it'll probably just me and two other staff members. I max capacity. I think I put it on there. There could be up to 10, but I think I don't know that my business will grow to be that large here. So probably would never be more than 6 or so.
Don't be pessimistic. Be optimistic. It'll be great.
Well, certainly there'd be less people on site at any given time than a daycare center.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Certainly appears that would be. Now, what would your hours of operation be?
Yeah, I know it looks a little funky in there, because I think I put from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day of the week. And just when I filled out the application, I wasn't I'm still kind of deciding on what type of business model I want to use, whether I want to try to be open Saturdays and Sundays for dual working families or not. But I haven't worked that out with my future staff yet. Again, making that work with their schedules in mind, so.
Okay.
It'd be the normal business hours, no earlier than 7, probably no later than 6 or 7. It'll probably only be about 3 to 4 days a week total. I just don't know what those days will be.
Well, how about if we put what you have here, the 7 AM to 8:30 PM? That would work. And now, when you do the patients, is there a lot of noise going on in there?
The Novocaine doesn't.
Sawing and
I'm
hammering.
sure if he's doing you, he'd probably
Drilling.
feel it.
The last time I went to a dentist that had a toothache, he came in with a hammer and a chisel.
That's mostly it's me
Yeah.
politely asking my patients to wear their elastics, probably be the extent of it, so.
No screaming.
Yeah,
Only if they're excited about getting their braces, I guess.
yeah, or having it
Getting them
taken off.
probably, yeah.
Getting the bill.
So you think that initially you're gonna start off with 2 and then work up to 10 to 12, hopefully, huh?
Mhm.
All right, well, how about if we put a maximum 12? Now, how about signage? What'd you have in mind for signage?
I was hoping just to keep the existing signs that are there. There's one right on the corner, but it obviously changed the name on the front of it, but it's painted over. And then there's also one on the side of the building for the creative daycare. I would change that just to an orthodontic sign of the same size or smaller.
Yeah.
I believe that's in compliance. I know the building fairly well. It's at the end of my street, so. I saw it when I was on my way down, so.
I'm sorry, who are you? A new member? Oh, okay.
That's why.
I wanna look up the size for me. So parking doesn't seem to be a problem. Do you know how many off-street roughly there are? You think there's 20?
I think so. I counted 10 on the sides. and
But that didn't
in the front.
include the extra that you're gonna do in.
Yeah, that didn't include the.
Would you have that many
playground.
people, I mean, is there that many people at one time? I mean,
So at maximum, there'd be 6 chairs per patient, so I figured it out to be about 6 for, if every single chair was filled, it'd be about 6 cars, plus my staff, you know, again, anywhere from 2 to 8.
when
2
you,
to 10.
so you're gonna have other dentists working there?
Well, no, just be, you know, a secretary and an assistant or 2, maybe someone that knows more about insurance than I do,
Yeah.
just kind of just things like that nature.
So you set them in and then they have to wait for you?
Well.
Been there, okay. Okay. That's right, yeah. Okay, so your signage, what's the size?
What size is the sign that's there now, do you know?
I had it written down at one point, I don't think I have that with me.
Yeah, I think 12 square feet is the max.
That's the
isn't it?
max.
12 square feet would be the max, so that's what we're gonna put down. Is there anyone else here in this audience tonight that wants to speak, either in favor or opposed?
I'd like to speak.
Go ahead, sure, you gotta tell us who you are and come right down.
Sure. I'm Sandy Carlton, 149 Main Street, Groveland. I live across the street.
Okay?
And I do have several concerns,
Yeah,
considering it is a change of usage and I've been through this before down this road.
yeah.
My main concern is the parking, all right? Parking in front of the building, parking where that fence is on the front of the building. The last,
Are we
special
talking,
permit.
wanna come up and show us, cause
I can show you.
yeah,
I
I've got a
brought a
drawing here, just show me what you're talking about, so we're on the same page.
This was taken this morning.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm sorry for the clarity,
Yeah.
because across the street.
Yeah,
There is a fence here, and the last special permit, there was no parking on this side of the street. It happens every day, okay? And you can see a car going up there. They do not slow down on Main Street, going up Broad Street at all. So I'm concerned about the parking in the front of the building.
when you said the front, there's a
On-
triangle.
that's the
Which-
front.
Which is the
On
front?
Main Street, you're talking?
You're talking the front as being Main Street?
It's a triangle.
Yeah, I know, I got it here, but it's Main and Broad, so what would be,
The front door,
yeah, where's this here?
this is the front door. That's on Main Street. This
Over
is
here.
Broad Street, the car going up is going
Okay.
up Broad Street, and
So
that's the front door.
So you're concerned with parking on Main Street side?
Main and they're all, it's really basically all Main Street, but there's one little, rail fence there, all right? So it's cars going up on the side of Broad Street, and then this is Main Street. No cars were supposed to be left there with children going in and out, but
Are we like, is this corresponding like this?
this is Main Street,
Yeah.
and this is Broad Street. This is the triangle,
Yeah, got it right here.
and this is the front door.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a little rail fence. So
Yeah.
this isn't big enough for anything, but they park on both sides,
Gotcha.
okay? And there is a sign, slow, on Broad Street, but no cars slow down going up Broad Street at all. And
Yeah.
cars on Broad Street are backing out onto this. And then on Main Street, they're letting children out. And these are little kids, and they don't let them out, the parents go in and take them out, but these are gonna be older kids with.
Can we check, I wanna pass this down?
Sure,
Are
and they're not
are
gonna.
there no parking signs on?
No, there isn't, but, these children aren't gonna have, deciduous
Is
teeth,
there
they're
a,
gonna
is
have.
there a
adult
shoulder
teeth.
there at all? Is there like,
It's flat, there is a little rail fence.
No, no, on Broad Street though, it's pretty open, isn't it?
It's flat,
It's
yeah,
all-
it's
all
open,
open
it's
in
open,
Broad
correct,
Street,
it is.
Yeah.
So,
And the playground area is somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Can you
the
come
back.
up here a minute, Brad?
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Sandy Carlton, nice to meet you.
And Sandy, I thought long and hard about, again, keeping those kids safe and parking stuff. That's something I've just taken very seriously in planning this out. And I think just for the community's sake, as much as I can, I'd like to have most of the parking again in that back area where the existing playground is, just for those same reasons. 'Cause I think common sense is, certainly with,
It is not a safe area or a safe intersection as
But
far
are
as
we
children.
talking about this area up here with the playground is?
So I think- is it okay if I draw on this?
All right, all right, sure.
so what she's talking
She
about is a
shouldn't want them
little
let
fence
out
right
on
here
the
like
street.
this.
Yep,
Well, there shouldn't
about,
be,
two
but-
spots
And these kids are.
right
so
here.
it's gonna be
Yep.
run in.
And typically what happens is right here, these are, people kind of park
do, right?
And the other thing is.
as such along the
I
side.
have other issues.
And I think
Well,
perhaps she's
concerns.
concerned about, certainly the cars are going
yeah,
pretty
I
fast
mean,
down
is
this
there any
road.
way that we can negotiate to have all parking in this area here, which would be further from the intersection and
Yes.
maybe a more safer area to park in, is that something? that
Again,
would work?
certainly that's my main goal, is I want to have majority of my parking
In the rear.
in this area.
Okay.
Perhaps would it be like acceptable maybe if we had staff, adult staff park in the front area where the children's not an issue? Is it children that's an issue or is it visibility?
It,
Uh,
it's the, parking and, it isn't safe there, and they park like on the Main Street side, and the cars even make U-turns to go around.
Just
but
ask
it's
your
not
patients
safe.
not to drop off on the main road, right?
Well, they did that already with the daycare, and it didn't work. They're doing it, that picture was this morning. So, the other concern is, if they leave kids,
Yeah,
or, they drop kids off or whatever, they leave their cars running with the light shining directly into my house. All right, so that's a nuisance in itself. This is residential,
Oh, so I see, so is your house maybe right here?
directly across the street
So,
from that.
so again, so these lights are on right here and it's shining in your house.
So if cars are parked there, yeah, it's very annoying, and they run in, and the cars are let go, they're running, but it's the lights, and sometimes they're 15, 20 minutes at a time.
It does seem that this particular use that Mr. Bowden is proposing would be a lot less traffic than you're experiencing now.
Well, I kind of disagree with that also,
Yeah.
because I just retired since I was in high school, and I won't say how many years,
Yeah.
working for a dentist, and I just retired. But an orthodontist is scheduled differently, as we know, it could be, 4 chairs, 6 chairs, and you could have them all filled at the same time with,
How many children did daycare come?
well, they had a total of 30 to 35 was what they said.
Yeah.
But they came in the morning and they left mostly at night, occasionally during the middle of the day.
So you're talking.
But this could be all day long in the high traffic area.
At some point in time, though,
it's
you
after school.
could have had 35 cars there within a short period of time
5 or 6 o'clock when it's dark,
Yeah.
but he's not gonna have.
versus
6 chairs.
six cars. So
Well, you know.
so that the use of it is definitely less intense than current use.
Probably a fifth less.
Yeah.
And I don't
And
agree
five,
with
five,
that.
five,
Yeah.
5, 6
But
less.
that-
Would
that's-
it make you, would it make you happier if he agreed to move the parking down to with the playground is? Would you be-
Yes,
maybe you guys.
It
could-
is residential, and it is non-conforming, and I realize with all the special permits, I understand all that.
Right,
But it is still residential.
right.
Okay, so,
Or maybe him, him trying to be a good neighbor, maybe you could work something out where,
well, I would like to see it as, put in,
yeah.
that he agrees to do that. And I would be happy, I have no problem with the usage, okay, so I don't have a problem with that. My main concern is the parking and the letting off of the children, and it is a dangerous intersection. And then, because most of the traffic is gonna be after school, as we know, all right? And you raised some other concerns, because you said your hours, 7 to 7, that's already, they do 6:30 to 6:30, but they're never there at 6:30. But Saturdays and Sundays, it's residential, I'm sorry, it's residential. And I would have a problem with that, definitely.
And I'd probably rather not work Saturdays and Sundays either, but again, it's something I just thought about, just be nice for, again, some of the patients.
Well, it would be very nice for the patients, but you all have to take time off to go to the doctors. So the only other thing I have to say is, from my driveway, east is residential. And so this is residential. I would appreciate the board taking my concerns under consideration where this is a residential area, and apply the most restrictive use concerning the new special permit and usage of the property concerning the traffic and the parking. Also, if the special permit is allowed, who is responsible for keeping the restrictions in the code? Because obviously, with the picture I showed you, nobody has been responsible for doing that, so.
Well, I can answer that question. If you would like to go out in the hall and grab a copy of the town report, you'll find who the zoning enforcement officer is for the town of Groveland, and that would be the person that would be responsible.
Okay.
Okay? Now, let me just read this a little bit further for everyone's, it just says that previously non-conforming structures and or uses may be extended or altered, provided that such extension or alteration shall be permitted unless there is a finding by the permit granting authority, as defined by the bylaws, as having jurisdiction over such structures and uses, that such change, extension, or alteration shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood. Now, it appears to me that if you have 30-some-odd people coming at one time, both in the morning and the evening, and you're gonna cut that down to 6 off and on during the day, and I doubt that'd be 6 every single day of the week, that we're certainly looking at a much less.
It's less burdensome by 80%.
Yeah,
Whatever the math is.
at least. So, Brad, is it fair to assume, or could we write in that the area in the front will be limited to employees, and that customer parking or patient parking, however you call it, would be assigned in the rear of the building, or on the rear by Broad Street and the rear of the building?
I think that's
Is
more
that okay?
than fair. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be very amenable, and again, just, I want you to
Okay,
be comfortable, so give me my personal cell phone, again, come and check in with me, make sure everything works out.
I appreciate that.
For
Thank you.
employees,
Could I say something?
certainly.
Yeah, my name is Jeffrey Sir. I live on Dwinell Street.
Yeah.
I got
Hold
parking.
on, what was your name again?
Jeffrey, Geoffrey, Sir. I live on Dwinell Street. I've been here
Yep.
since 1967.
Yep.
I remember this particular building being used as a restaurant. And there was no parking issues at that time.
Yeah.
And they were open on weekends, of course, also. So if you think this man's trying to start a business, he should at least be able to be open on Saturday if he wants to be. As far as the parking goes, like you said, if 30 kids are being dropped off in the morning, that's a lot of cars. But his business, you're not gonna have that situation. You're gonna have people come in dribs and drabs. You're gonna have appointments all during the day. And he's got plenty of room in the back of that building. Because I can remember when it was a restaurant, there was plenty of parking there. So I don't think that's a big issue. I really don't. That's just my statement that I'd like
Thank
to
you.
make.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak regarding this application? I can tell you that you'd have to be dragging me to see you. You'd have to drag me out of the car, tie me down, and drag me back, but, do you anticipate any type of deliveries other than like UPS?
Not really. Sometimes representatives will show up with the little brackets, but they usually just drive a regular car.
So there wouldn't be anything beyond a,
The only time it would be is just when the initial chairs are delivered.
yeah.
Things like that.
Well, I'm looking at a regular, so a UPS truck type of thing?
Yeah.
Office supplies, things like that.
And how about lighting? Is there any exterior lighting in the building now?
There's a light that shines onto where the existing sign is at the corner. I think it's burnt out, 'cause I haven't seen it on, but there is a light there. And again, I may replace the bulb just to use it as well, just 'cause it's already there.
But that's it, that's all that's there, should be, there's no
So,
outside.
I'm trying to remember if there's a light that's on like the side sign, but I can't remember.
Yeah, well, at any rate, if there is some lighting on the building and or the parking area, it needs to be of a cutoff luminaire style which doesn't shine into another neighbor or the road and be an obstruction of any type of traffic flow. Okay, is there anyone else on the board's got questions or comments?
Yeah, what issues are there on 7 days a week? I mean, it seems
Well-
like, to me, it's a main street, it's a busy road. I mean, you're gonna have traffic going down Main Street no matter what, so, I mean, a couple cars pulling in and out on a Saturday or Sunday, I don't think it's a noticeable difference from the traffic flow that's already there. I mean, I think it's de minimis to that extent, so I don't
Yeah,
think that
well,
there's a problem with,
I tend to agree. I don't think that this isn't like a retail operation where you're gonna, I mean,
it's not gonna be
people are gonna go there, they're not gonna, not the happiest place to go. And,
I'd be happy going in, you get a nice smile.
so it's not like they're gonna be, sprinting there to get there and happy to see you. So it's a situation that if you have someone has a problem on the weekend or Saturday, Sunday, they shouldn't have to wait till Monday. If you can accommodate them on a Saturday or Sunday, come in and fix whatever, if something broke.
Brick of wire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with that type of situation, and all of a sudden you gotta wait for 2 or 3 days till you open up. That doesn't seem unreasonable, and I wouldn't think you'd be working full days on Saturdays and Sundays. I would anticipate a half a day, either one, usually is what they usually do. But at any rate,
Or maybe a compromise where, Saturday there are some hours, but Sunday would be
yeah, I mean,
emergency only.
yeah,
or something.
if that would work for you, that would probably be better for everyone, even you. I mean, we leave Sunday open only for emergencies and not a regular basis. Would that
Yeah.
work?
And again, I just wasn't sure, is
Okay.
it gonna be a Sunday to be open and not the Saturday, or
Yeah.
a Saturday this week and a Sunday the next week? But the way I understood the application, if I didn't say that was a potential day, then down the road, technically, that wouldn't be. I just at least want all the butters to
Yeah,
know what
well,
the potential would be for.
I think that the Sunday emergency would work. Does that work for you, ma'am?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. The dentist that's down the street is the same way. I mean,
Yeah.
if there's an emergency, this is an orthodontist. This isn't a dentist that comes in with patients with a toothache and an abscess. It's not the same situation at all. It's braces.
Yeah, they break them.
Cement's being shipped off of braces. It's not the same situation as what you see. Kids are happy to go in there and get colored braces on their teeth.
Wow.
So it's not a toothache situation. Am I correct?
I mean, I think it's
Still a
different for
dentist.
everyone. I mean, some people are tough, and sometimes, people have a poke, and it's, sometimes that's like the biggest thing in their world.
I mean,
that day.
emergency on a Sunday is one thing, but there's still, if it was open for Sundays, I mean, there's slamming of doors and stuff like that, going on all the time, and it's a nuisance factor. And I guess I am the most directly affected. And as far as, it being the triangle and the restaurant, it can no longer be a restaurant again, so that's already been in the minutes of other meetings, so.
Is there anyone else that wanted to say anything in the audience? No? Anyone else any comments here?
I mean, I think some Sunday usage, I mean, the other businesses on that street, I mean, you have the greens there, the banquet, I mean, it's not too much further down the street, so I mean, are we being,
Across the street.
yeah, I mean, are we being consistent in, you get somebody a stone's throw down the road, and they could have a wedding with, you know, how many people, and they can be open on Sunday. So I like equality in the law, and if you, I think if you wanna be open from noon to 5 or something reasonable, I don't think it should be just for an emergency. I mean, that's just, it's not equal application in my opinion. So that's my sense on that.
Anyone else,
Yeah,
anyone else any feeling about it?
think
I
the
like the new member in the blue down here.
permit should allow, operating hours conducive with his ability to make a profit and have a viable business. I hope you flourish.
The thing is, going back to what her point was, it is on the line of residential and commercial.
Thank you.
Is it on the line or over the line?
I think it's on the line.
It's over.
What you said, right?
It's on the line, so right at the point is where the dividing line
So
is.
right, like one of the board members just said a minute ago, that there's a golf, wedding place next door, whatever, they're open Sundays. Maybe you could talk to the board and do emergencies only on Sunday or something, for the time being. It sounds like you're just getting going.
Yes.
So maybe you could do is you can do an emergency situation, say, just for Sundays I'll be open for now, get your business established. I don't know if you have to come back before the board, that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense
it's,
probably.
yeah, you have, it's a
So
problem with that. We got a gentleman up here with a baseball hat here. I think it's,
Baseball.
Oh,
You're
Hockey.
going.
yeah, you're right, hockey, there you go. What do you got?
Well, we did Dr. Dark years ago, and I was on the Board of Appeals. He had the emergency on Sunday. It wasn't 9 to 5, but it was emergency only. And we had to grant that. I mean, you probably find that just about doctor's offices, vets, things like that,
Do you know him?
they get that emergency only situation, no matter what. Just don't know what's gonna happen, that's all.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, well, any other comments from the board?
I have a comment,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second, just, any other comments?
Yeah, I mean, there's no emergency banquet or emergency wedding requirement. I mean, it's just, I don't understand the rationale behind the restriction on it. It's the same neighborhood, it's right next to the banquet hall. There's, I don't know how many hundreds of spaces there are in there, but I mean, why should a doctor or an orthodontist be restricted to an emergency legal restriction where other businesses on the same street, on a main street, mind you, it's not I mean, there's plenty of traffic there. Why should he be limited in his ability to run that business and have a restrictive red tape on him, limited to it's not applied to the other business,
Yeah.
okay?
All right, go ahead. One more comment, then we're gonna move along.
The golf area is in business. This is residential. My driveway is the line. So this is definitely residential. And the last minutes of the meeting, from when the daycare went in, said, talking about the daycare was permitted by special permit in this residential zone. Those are in the minutes of the meeting.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's debating the fact that it's in a residential zone. I think the criteria for this particular operation is in our ordinance of 106.1, non-conforming uses, which I've read here, and we have to determine if it's in, the uses are greater than or less than the previous use, and I think that it's clearly, in my mind, a less use than a daycare. And I think I'm agreeing with the rest of the board that 7 days a week probably, I suspect at his young age, 7 days a week isn't much, but that can get old pretty fast.
Thank you.
So,
And again, I'm not even necessarily requesting 7 days a week of work, I'm just requesting the ability to work on any given of those 7 days. Because otherwise I'd have to come back and reapply if I wanted to change a day and it wasn't in something we agreed on today, which.
But you might find that the customer base, it's more convenient for parents to see you on Saturday or Sunday. So the customer is always right if you want the money, and it makes business sense that if you have those hours that are outside of work hours, that's gonna benefit your business. So it's common sense that if that's what helps you be successful, and you've asked for those hours, in totality, it's less burdensome than the prior use.
I agree with you. Well, listen, I'm gonna make a motion on application 2014-1 to approve it with the following conditions. The hours of operation would be 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., 7 days a week. The maximum on employees would be 12. The maximum on signs is 12 square feet. The prospective owner has agreed to restrict the front parking to employees only, and the rear parking will be for customers and/or patients. The material deliveries would be no larger than a UPS truck. Lighting is existing. I took the square foot of the building, which was on the application, to be 1,408 square feet. This is not a retail use. All the plans submitted would become part of this agreement. If the proposal is an aquifer protection district, the applicant shall meet all requirements as deemed necessary by the Groveland Planning Board. It's subject to the Groveland Board of Health rules and regulations, subject to all laws, regulations, inspections, and others of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Special permit is subject to recall if the board receives any written complaints. No action on any variance or special permit or any extension, modification, or renewal thereof shall take effect until a copy of the decision is recorded in the Essex Southern District Registry of Deeds for the county and in the district in which the land is located, and indexed in the index under the name of the owner, or is recorded and noted on the owner's certificate of title. And the receipt of said transaction delivered to the building inspector prior to the issuance of a building permit. If the rights authorized to the applicant and/or the property owner of said special permit are not exercised within 2 years from the date of granting said special permit, filing date with the town clerk, the board's decision, then such special permit rights shall become null and void unless a substantial use thereof has commenced except for good cause. On a case of a permit for construction, if the construction has not yet begun by such date for good cause. I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, make it, yeah. You're all set now. Julie will tell you what happens next. Okay. She's gonna speak, go ahead.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Julie's gonna tell, before you leave, Brad, Julie's gonna tell you,
A copy of the decision, the decision will be filed with the town clerk within 14 days. I will send you a copy of the decision, along with what you need to do. You need to go to the registry of deeds. You need to get the original decision from the town clerk and bring it down to the registry of deeds and have it registered, then you need to bring it back.
Okay,
Okay?
fantastic, thank you.
That's it.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Next application is application 2014-2, made by Michelle, and I believe it is Gogus, for a special permit to operate a retail store featuring new, used, and unique merchandise at the premises located at 21 Elm Park, Assessors Plat number 10, lot number 30, according to all applicable sections of the town of Groveland, including sections 101, 107, 301, and 1301, and a vote is anticipated. Is Michelle Gugas here? And did I pronounce that correctly? Yes, please. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Good evening.
You need another chair?
You can sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, sit,
Bring your
bring your chair up, that's, be comfortable.
It's good take.
There you go.
I hope not. Members of the zoning board, my name is Elizabeth Rose. I'm an attorney in Groveland with offices at 21 Elm Park. I also live at 792 Salem Street in Groveland, have for more than 50 years.
No way.
So, thank you. And I'm representing Michelle Gogus, who is the applicant. At the present time, there is one attorney, myself, working there, although there are 3 names on the sign out front. The other 2 gentlemen sort of use it as a mailing address and an occasional come in and use the copy machine. They don't generally have regular office hours there. Initially, back in 2005, when I came before the board, there were 5 attorneys there and several staff people. Due to several circumstances, we're down to myself and the other 2 gentlemen who pop in every couple of months. So the applicant is seeking to operate a retail establishment on the first floor, and the law office will move to the second floor. The sign that is out there now meets the zoning requirements, and it's a wooden sign. There's no direct lighting on it. There's just a street light. We expect that the same sign will be used. It will just be repainted to include the store sign. Michelle anticipates that there'll be 1 to 1.5 employees. We have off-street parking to the side and the rear of the building, and there's also on-street parking. Usually 2 spaces in front, but all of the businesses on that side of the street kind of share. There are no chemicals or solvents involved in any of the items that are being sold. The hours of operation would be Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sunday 11 to 5. And as Michelle would explain to you, she's not anticipating that much, but we wanted to cover all our bases right now rather than to have to return. There are deliveries right now. We have an occasional UPS or FedEx. There'd be no more than that for the business. That's pretty much it. So any specific questions as to the store operation itself, Michelle could probably answer those best.
The square foot
Of the first floor,
of the anticipated area.
1,247 square feet. I don't know if I told you the name of it. Vintage in Vogue is the name. Michelle has experience working, has had space in other stores in the area, but thought this is the time to try to come to Groveland.
So we're gonna have a retail store on the first and a law office on the second floor, is that correct? So
That's correct.
Mixed use?
Yes.
This is the one, I was going through a bunch of them, so forgive me, but this is the one that had residential upstairs before. Was it a mixed use before?
When we bought it, it was just residential,
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
When was that?
2005.
2005?
I think over the years, it's been a combination.
Yeah, because I think when I looked it up, it said it was mixed use, and I thought, oh, I thought it was all commercial, so I was confused.
And so,
I just want to make sure.
so parking, you do have off-street parking?
Yes, we do. We have parking to the side of the building, in front of the garage, and then around behind the building and behind the garage.
How many cars do you think?
I would say at least 10 spaces.
10 off-street parking?
Yes.
10 off-street parking?
Yes,
No, is that stacking or
that's side by side.
Robinson?
Yes. What's stacking?
Well, I mean, so that,
Oh.
I mean, one, in back, so you can't get, one couldn't get out, so you're talking about.
We're side by side, yeah. When we were in,
Parallel parking type thing, yeah.
right, when we were in full operation with 5 attorneys there and support staff, we really didn't have a problem with parking.
Any current lighting or proposed lighting outside?
No, what I have there now are just, for safety, they're, lights that go on to the rear of the building when you go out, sensor lights
On the side of the building?
on the side.
Okay. Anyone else here that would like to speak regarding this application? Go ahead.
Jim Freer, 18 Elm Park.
Yeah, that's not a baseball hat, is it?
No, it isn't. You gotta learn the difference between a puck and a baseball.
Hey, listen, I'm a baseball guy.
That's right.
Just the sign is gonna stay with 3 foot by 4 foot,
Yes, it'll be the
non-lighted.
same side.
Okay. 10 off-street parking spaces. I don't count on Street anymore, we just lost 10 on the square due to the bridge. And if they come down that side of Elm Park redoing 97, it's not proposed right now, but if it happens, there won't be any on the street, I can tell you that right now. You're gonna go to ADA standards on the sidewalks, and that's 6 feet. So, you know, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with the sign, I'm all right with the off-street parking. That's the main contention, okay? All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else who want to speak? Regarding this? How about the board, any questions?
What type of business is it?
It's a vintage. I'm also an artist, so it'll be art, furniture, clothing, jewelry, vintage and newer stuff.
No, you currently operate somewhere else?
I rented spaces in different businesses, like small spaces, but now I want to have my own store. So I've done this for years, but never just on my own.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I should ask, I'm an abutter to the
Yeah.
property, so I don't know if I should recuse myself or
Yeah.
if I can actually ask.
You're just an alternate.
You can ask.
Okay.
Leave the
So,
room.
how
You
much-
guys gotta leave the room. No, seriously. if you
No,
sit
man,
on the
you can
board,
redact anything.
You can't be, you
How much
can't ask
tra-
a question.
How much additional traffic will be going behind the building, because that abuts my
Prejudice
property?
themselves.
Oh, you right behind it?
Yeah,
Oh.
do you think? I mean, I know
I-
it's hard to guess, but
If it's
You
very
know that one,
successful,
Mitch.
there could be quite a bit, and then we'd be moving, or she'd be moving.
right. I mean, I know it's not
Really,
much
yeah.
now because you're parking, I think,
Mike,
one or two cars back there.
Right.
Let me just, there's one, an antique shop in Georgetown
Yeah.
that I go by frequently.
Settlers.
And,
Trading Square there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I say frequently, I go by it probably 3 or 4 times a week easily. And I'm not sure that I've ever seen a car in
Well, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, so I've driven down through Essex and those areas, and you see the areas that have no parking or just no street parking. So I think you're probably limited to, if someone is so inclined to go there. I'm not sure the parking's gonna be a big issue, but.
Unless you had an event of some
Unless,
sort,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
Correct.
I don't think that's a high traffic type of operation, but,
Which we may have an event once in a while, but not like every day.
yeah,
You know, like a special thing to bring people in.
yeah.
But that wouldn't happen often.
Is main part of your business like Craigslist and eBay and things like that as
Um,
well?
I do Etsy.
So,
You do what?
Etsy, it's another website like eBay, kind of selling online for
What's it
artists.
called?
Etsy.
Write it down.
ETSY.
Yeah, you sound like Golden.
It's 2014.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet, yeah. I'm still hung up on the orthodontist, you know. Get away from my
you can buy
teeth.
some wooden teeth.
Yeah, get away from my teeth. Do we have any other questions? Seems pretty straightforward to me.
It is.
Yeah, well, I'll make a motion to approve application 2014-2 with the hours of operation being Monday through Sunday, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5. Maximum number of employees is 1.5, and I can't wait to see the half employee. The sign will be utilizing an existing sign, and it is currently a maximum of 12 square feet. And the parking is in the rear with 10 automobiles. The material and delivery pickups would anticipate no bigger than a UPS or FedEx. The lighting is currently building lights on the building. The maximum square foot of the building being used would be 1,247 square feet. All submitted plans will become part of this agreement. If the proposal is an aquifer protection district, the applicant shall meet all requirements as deemed necessary by the Groveland Planning Board. Subject to all Groveland Board health and rules regulations, subject to all laws, regulations, inspections, and others of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Special permit is subject to recall if the board receives any written complaints. No action on any variance or special permit or extension, modification, or renewal thereof shall take effect until the copy of the decision is recorded in the Essex Southern District Registry of Deeds for the county and the district in which the land is located and indexed under the name of the owner, or it's recorded and noted on the owner's certificate of title, and a receipt of said transaction delivered to the building inspector prior to issuance of a building permit. If the rights authorized to the applicant or property owner by said special permit are not exercised within 2 years from the date of granting said special permit, the filing date with the town clerk or the board's decision, then such special permit rights shall become null and void unless a substantial use thereof has commenced except for good cause, or in the case of a permit for construction, if the construction has not yet begun by such date except for good cause. Need a second?
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, same stuff, you wanna tell them again?
We got it.
You got it, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're all set, thank you, good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, moving right along. Let's see, okay. Application 2014-3 made by Doug Demers Jr., owner of premises located at 212 Seven Star Road, Groveland, Plat 37, Lot 4C, for a special permit for accessory in-law apartment according to all applicable sections of the Town of Groveland bylaws, including section 301.8. Vote is anticipated. Mr. Demers.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. But before we get going anyway here, let me just tell you that the application is lacking.
Okay.
There's no drawing, there's nothing. What happened? There's nothing. How do we know what you're doing?
The in-law existed when we purchased the house, so it's not new construction, it was already there.
But we don't have anything here.
I have the building sketch, would that be? It's up to
We
you.
need something, yeah. Yeah. So this, you say this is existing?
Yes.
Where's the, so you mean there's no prior, when was it done?
We purchased the house in 1997, it was already done at that point.
And how come it's 1997, let's see,
It's almost 17 years.
yeah, how come we waited 17 years to come in here? What's the deal?
Well, when we purchased it, we didn't know we were supposed to. I have the MLS listing here to show you that it was done before we bought it. So I guess.
Why are we here now?
Time to make it legal.
So how did you hear that it needed to be legal?
Well, we did find out years later, and then I went to refinance, and they said it was approved, and then all of a sudden the underwriter said, wait a minute, and then they called the town, and they said that we need to come in and apply for this occupancy permit.
Is the size of this in-law apartment 32 by 36?
No, it's about 24 by 24. About 600 square feet.
I only have one dimension on there, I got 24.19. You know what the other dimensions are on this?
I never.
Can I see that for a second? Let me see, match it up with what I
Go
got.
ahead.
Let's see. I have, this is 28, over to the deck.
Is this single story?
No, 2 stories. The in-law, the accessory is single story, yes.
There's a picture of it. See, so the main house is that, and
Over the garage?
so it's over the garage, right?
Yes.
And how does someone access it?
When you come to the house, there's a mudroom, and you can go right to my house or left to my parents' house. They have a separate access.
And the relative lives there now?
My parents live there, they actually own the house with me, so it's unoccupied.
Oh, so you're all on the deed?
Yes.
And so they access it would be to the right of the existing in this area here?
You come into the mudroom, and to the right is the main house, the left is the in-laws, yes.
Yeah, see, like here.
Yeah.
There's like a little indent
Yeah.
there. How many bedrooms total? Just curious, for everything.
One on their side and 3 on my side.
How many bedrooms is your septic approved for?
Who knows? I mean, this is very important, because if this was probably built with permits, then that would have been one of the criterias for allowing that to be built, with the size of the septic system.
The septic was replaced 6 or 7 years ago.
By you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and so how many bedrooms was it designed for when you replaced
I
it?
can find out, Frisco did it, so I'm sure I can find that out.
Did he know how many bedrooms you had, do you think? Did you discuss it with him? Yeah, so maybe he designed it, but.
What year was that?
Probably 6 or 7 years ago we replaced the septic.
We talking a couple years after you bought the property then? No.
No, we've been there since '97, so probably 10 years after we were there, we
2007, you think?
Yeah.
Anyone else in the, here that wants to speak? Hold on over here, here's a new person. What's your name, sir?
My name is Dana Clark. I live at 214 Center Star Road, next door to Doug. And I wanted to speak in favor of approving this application for mother-in-law apartment, if that's what it's called. I called them when I got the notice that the ZBA was going to have a hearing, and I didn't even know anybody was living over there. I built a house next door about 5 years ago, and there's, I didn't even know that they had an apartment over there that anybody was living in. So it's not like it's causing any problems in the neighborhood. And we've also got a precedent in the neighborhood for this too. I think there was another one, 210 Seven Star Road. There was a letter from the ZBA came across my mailbox the other day too, and that's my other neighbor. And what they did in that house actually really improved it. So what they've got going over there hasn't been a problem with parking, with septic systems, with anything that I can see from where I'm standing. So I just wanted to add that and throw my support into what is basically paperwork, I think, at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yep.
Mr. Bruin.
Jim Freer, 18 L Park, also the planning board. The law, when it was written, I believe it was around 1990, it has some problems in that when it's given to the owner at the time, and then that owner sells it, it dead ends.
It's non-transferable.
But we don't know that. And I mean, some of these things we do know, they become full-fledged apartments. They're not just in-law. So there is a problem with what happened years ago. We were trying to make things right. But it's one of these things of tracking that it's just, I don't know how we're gonna end up doing this. I really don't. I mean, at least he's coming before you.
Well, I think what happens, and I obviously, I didn't ask the question without knowing the answer, because I've been around this a little bit. I knew that there probably was an outside influence, i.e. a refi that required this to be a legal apartment, and it's true that when you bought that unit, even if it had been legal at the time, you would have had to come back in and legalize it in your name, because they're non-transferable. So, at this point, it's not, you're applying as if it wasn't there, so. But at any rate, anyone else have any comments? Any other comments from the board?
I give you credit for coming in and trying to make it right, that's all I can say.
Yeah, I don't, it's one of those things that it meets the criteria. I mean, the biggest thing is the size, the bedrooms. If you replace the septic system within the last few years, then I suspect it would be incumbent upon the person doing the replacement to know how many bedrooms the system was gonna be put in for. So with that in mind, I make a motion to approve the application 2014-3. The accessory in-law apartment shall be constructed to the submitted footprint only. The accessory in-law apartment shall not exceed the specifications of submitted plans. The accessory in-law apartment shall be no greater than 900 square feet, excluding unfinished basements, workshops, unfinished attics, closets, and garage space. The accessory in-law apartment shall not be converted into a two-family residence according to Groveland zoning bylaws. The accessory in-law apartment shall revert back to a single-family residence at the change of ownership, while the primary family members move out of said residence. All submitted plans will become part of this agreement. Any deviation or changes from said plans will require an additional Groveland Zoning Board of Appeals hearing relative to proposed changes prior to commencement of said changes. The accessory in-law apartment shall not change the single-family characteristic of the dwelling except for the provisions of additional access or egress. The accessory in-law apartment shall meet all Massachusetts building codes and comply with current safety, health, construction requirements before occupancy at every change of occupancy. The applicant shall meet all local zoning bylaws. The applicant shall meet all local bylaws and others. The applicant shall meet all Groveland Board of Health rules and regulations. The applicant shall meet all local zoning setbacks. No on-street parking will be allowed. All residents will park off-street on the existing driveway or proposed expansion of existing driveway. The owner applicant shall occupy one of the dwelling units of said premise at all times. The applicant shall allow the Groveland Zoning Board of Appeals to conduct an annual site inspection to verify compliance with said special permit conditions. The Groveland Zoning Board of Appeals reserves the right to retain the services of the Groveland Building Inspector during such annual site inspections. Upon change of ownership of said property, this special permit for accessory in-law apartment and certificate of occupancy of said accessory in-law apartment shall become null and void. This special permit is subject to recall if any complaints are made by the abutters. This special permit is non-assignable. The decision and notice of the decision shall be filed and recorded in the Essex Southern District Registry of Deeds, and receipt of said transaction delivered to the building inspector prior to the issuance of any building permit for the construction of accessory in-law apartment according to said decision. If the rights of the authorized applicant, hold on a second, I didn't get that one copied. Yeah, I said permit not exercised with 2 years from the date of the granting of special permit, filing date with the filing date with the town clerk or the board's decision that such special permits rights shall become null and void unless substantial use thereof is commenced except for good cause, or in a case of a permit for construction is not yet begun by such date for good cause. I would add another, number 19, that the building inspector needs to inspect after this has been recorded, duly recorded and brought back to town clerk. The building inspector needs to inspect the in-law apartment for current code compliance. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Chris. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. What's this,
Go ahead, Charlie.
okay. I didn't hear anywhere in there that if his mother or whatever moves out, that he can turn it into a regular apartment.
No, yes it is. Yeah, I was there, you weren't listening.
All right.
Yeah.
Check the tape.
Yeah, check the tape.
Check the tape.
The accessory in-law apartment shall revert back to a single-family residence at the change of ownership of primary family members move out.
Okay.
Okay. I talked a little fast, I was seeing how fast I could read this
Okay.
without breathing. So that I won't have to go to the orthodontist. All those in favor?
Aye.
You're all set. You want to tell her the spiel? He's just gonna give you the
Yeah,
added spiel.
within 14 days it'll be, brought it to Mrs. Brody, and then if there's a 20-day appeal period, I will send you a copy of the decision along with instructions as to what you need to do. After the 20-day appeal period, you can get the original decision to bring it down to the registry of deeds, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have to get that in the copy. Okay, now. I think we're all set. Are we all ready for adjourn? Do we have any more? Oh, yeah, I guess we have one more. Okay, the application 2014-4 made by Eric Harper for premises located at 441 Main Street, Plat 24, Lot 8 and 9 for a special permit finding to operate a business park associated where buildings are used by contractors and individuals working in trades for business support storage according to all applicable sections of the Town of Groveland bylaws, including section 106 and 1301.
Eric, move it out a little bit more, I can't get it in there.
It's the best you could do, Mitch? My goodness.
Hey Mitch, is that a scratch and sniff picture?
I think that picture belongs in that new shop, that vintage shop.
Yeah.
Although it might have to be a little improved.
That's
Can you get that,
courtesy of
Charlie?
the Estes. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, hi. Greetings.
Okay.
My name is Eric Harper, and I know that it's you got busy lives, so I thank you for coming out here and giving me an opportunity to tell you a little bit about what's going on. So I thought I'd start by introducing myself, a little bit of my background. I think I know some of you know a little bit about me, others don't. And then I'd like to give a brief history of the property, so you have some idea. You might know what's going on with it, you might not. And then an overview of the continued use of the property. And then I would be requesting your support for positive findings. So, you know, I've been around here for a while. I married my lovely wife Beth in 1987. We moved up to this area. We've raised 6 kids, and we really like this area. I operate a business in the Groveland Business Park, and I guess I'm responsible for building the majority of those buildings, and I manage those buildings as well. So I'd like to think of myself as a hardworking individual, responsible, and kind of a get-it-done kind of guy. If you take a ride through the Groveland Business Park, you can see that it's been well-maintained, it's clean, it's organized, and all the taxes and utility bills are paid promptly, and they're current right now. Like you, I spent time volunteering on some of these boards. I spent 6 years on the planning board and 6 years on the Conservation Commission, and other years in scouting, and also on various committees in the town. Probably a total of about 17 years of voluntary service. So, I just want to put in a word for the town boards here, because I have had the opportunity to work with the police, the fire department, the electric department, the water department, planning board, the conservation commission, all of them. I found them to be very considerate of my requests and very responsible in fulfilling their responsibilities. So my hat's off to you as public servants. I know that there's not too many people that say thank you for your service. 17 years, I don't think I've heard that too many times. But this site, as you can see, this is courtesy of the Estes family. Howard and Shirley Estes lent me this picture. It's kind of an old picture. I think it's dated here, 1982. A little while ago, and since then they've added several buildings to that site. But it's been in operation. They started operating in 1917, from what I understand, prior to zoning. They operated a retail, office, a production facility. I think they say he was, at his height there, they were doing 1.5 million board lengths of board they were putting out. So it was pretty full production at one time. And the manufacturing business, also they had significant warehousing and storage facilities, because all this wood that they produced and manufactured, they had to keep on site up to a year. So a good part of that site was used for storing wood and that kind of thing. The property, the lumberyard shut down, as you know, and the property has been maintained and continued to be in use. The taxes have been paid and are current today. Overview of the continued use of the property. This is an isolated parcel, and what would normally be described as commercial area. As a matter of fact, I think your affordable housing people refer this as a industrial commercial area, multi-unit, suitable for multi-unit residences as well. Across the street, as you know, there's a fencing company. It's been there for a long time. And further across the street is where the town has they have a water department, has a pumping station. There's a large solar field that supplies almost 100% of the electricity in town, which is fantastic. To the right of the property is the National Grid electric line. And also the electric company has a switching station there. It's close to the Haverhill border, and you can actually see the landfill there, that landfill area. So when we looked at the property, we can see that there's a real local need in the area for small business support. It's centrally located, and there is a lot of warehouse and storage structures. And also for a contractor, it's perfect for putting in staging, as ladders, also for staging space for some of the work that they conduct. This would be a real reasonable use of the property and continued use to fill this, and continue to use this property to fulfill that need. The property with the buildings will be managed by the Estes Park Business Association for similar pre-existing uses. It's identified in the application. I think the application is pretty clear of what I'm looking for. So as the new property owner and the manager of this business association, I'm here tonight to seek your support and request your finding that the proposed use is in line with the previous use. So, if you have any questions or anything I can answer, I'd be delighted to try to do my very best. And I do have some people in the audience that can assist me if I'm in need.
I've got a question. These existing buildings that you've got, I guess the numbered A, B, C, D, et cetera, would it be would you be anticipating renting all these buildings to different people?
Yes.
So that
Yes, Tom.
it's possible that we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well, 18, you know, you're talking quite a bit of traffic in and out of there, including maybe employees of the people who are renting the building. So it could be, it seems like there's going to the standards of 106, such change, extension, alteration shall not be substantially more detrimental to the non-conforming use of the neighborhood.
Right.
It's not, I used to go there off and on when it was a store, and there'd be 2 or 3 cars there, and maybe I moved to town at the tail end of the business cycle, but what you're proposing, although it seems like a great idea, it sounds to me like you also could be generating an awful lot more traffic than is currently, or than what was currently there.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. I believe that the use of the traffic will be a lot less than what was down at the Estes Lumber when they were operating in full scale. Most of these people, even though like they're, and some of them are here tonight, they're leasing one building. It's like 3,500 square feet. There's probably 2 guys that are gonna show up there in the morning and disappear for the day, just to get staging, ladders, whatever they need for the day. When you look at the use of this, you see it all over town. People need storage. They're running some kind of a little business. Their garage gets packed full with stuff. Next thing you know, they're gonna put their car outside. They got this and that all over the yard. It's kind of it really is inexpensive space for someone like that too.
And what's to prohibit or at least stop people from doing the same thing when they load up the inside, and all of a sudden they're gonna start having.
I can tell you, you don't know me very well, but.
Well, let me before you.
Yeah,
that was a
answer
loaded
that,
question
Tom.
because I think you have the gentleman that owned the property that had the guy cutting the trees. Did you own that property?
Which trees?
Right at the end of the road going into your park. Did you lease that property?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. So I mean, and that there turned out to be politely speaking an eyesore.
And he's no longer there.
I understand, but it was there for a while, and so that this can happen. The road to hell was paved with good intentions, and
True.
If you have 18 buildings down there, and every one of them hopefully are going to be successful, and in that success is going to be a problem area with space, and you know, potentially you could have the same situation come upon you as happened out there. I mean, yeah, it didn't happen for a long period of time, but that was in a really awful location as far as that was the interest of the town of Groveland, and it just, and the, you know.
Yeah.
I had conversations with him, and he wasn't, you know, we couldn't seem to get on the same page.
Yeah,
But that would be a concern because I can tell you, you got 1, 2, 3 houses right there that are gonna be abutting that, and if all of a sudden, what's been there has been dead storage of lumber. Now, I see you're taking down the overhead where they had stored lumber, but I mean, that's all was there for years, and the lumber didn't make any noise, and you get it, you know.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of traffic down there,
Yeah.
a whole lot of.
Yeah, every time I was there, it wasn't, but like I said, I moved, I've only been down here 9 years, so it's.
Saw and Hills going, and Saw's moving.
Yeah, I came to town, but nevertheless.
But I would invite you,
that's
Tom,
concern.
I would invite you to come down to my facility or into the Groveland Business Park and come down there. And I would invite you into the facility there. I would like you to see what it's like. The people who work for me refer to me as Mr. Clean. I mean, I don't even like a skid that's out of skew. Maybe that's my military background, but I am very fastidious about keeping things clean, organized, and everything in its place. So everybody down there is going to demonstrate what they're going to do, and it's going to be approved by me.
We have any, let's have the audience speak, and then we'll get to Bill. Anyone out here that came down? Hopefully there's someone here that wants to talk about this.
Yeah, Jeff Surrigan.
Yeah.
When he says Mr. Clean, he is Mr. Clean. I have I have a car down there, and I have a boat down there. You've probably seen my boat itself, just behind the fence. And I have a car in one of the buildings. It was one of the lumber buildings.
Oh, are you talking about this building here? Yeah.
One of the, I don't know what the numbers are, but
I know
the
the
building
building
it's
is.
in. And the day he took me in there to put my car in there, I couldn't believe how clean that building was. And I used to go in that building all the time, because I frequented SD Lumber for years. And that building is cleaner now than it's ever been than any other time that I've ever been in there. So, he's Mr. Clean. The whole property has been completely cleaned, inside and outside of all those buildings.
Yeah, I understand, but you see, what I'm talking about is that we're not talking about Mr. Estes being the sole proprietor of 18 buildings.
Right.
And so, at that point, you're dealing with 18 different people that have, they may all not be Mr. Clean.
Well, I am the sole proprietor of those 18 buildings now.
Yeah.
And,
No, but if you're gonna run them out, is that what you said you were gonna do?
I'm gonna manage them, yes. I'm gonna manage them just like anybody else would manage anything, you know, they'll all be like, just think of me as the general partner of the operation, and these people are I guess, subtenants. And everything's gonna have to meet my approval. This is gonna be a gated, controlled access, restricted area with daily observation. And I can tell you that, you know, right now I've had several people who have wanted to come in there, and I've looked at what they do and I said, no, not interested. You know, I'm very familiar, I own, as you know, some commercial property, and I'm very careful in what gets in there. Everything that goes in there will be observed by me. If I don't like it, it's gonna change. And I think that's better oversight, really, than the town's ever gonna give. Because I'm concerned about the property. I own it, and I'm not gonna let anything happen to it.
Just a quick question
Yes.
about the buildings themselves.
Yes.
Are those gonna be rented out as sole, one tenant per building, or will they be broken up into several units each?
Well, depending. I see, you know, there are some of those buildings that lend themselves to maybe 3 users. Some of them are like just bays, and the way they're set up, you could just put a wall in there and have 3 users very easily. 2,000 square foot bays. So, yes. There could be multiple users for each building, some of them. Others are definitely standalone.
Well, yeah, some of them are so small, you think that,
You know, 3,000 square feet it fills up pretty quick when you're a contractor and you're looking for space. You gotta keep it organized so you can get it out and in, out and in. So it's really perfect for warehouse kind of stuff like that.
Is it just gonna be warehousing, or are you gonna have fabrication in there? What are your plans on that?
You know, I see probably some light work being done, but nothing heavy. There will not be any, the type of electricity that you need for like, any kind of, heavy manufacturing at all.
Welding?
General welding, maybe off of 220, but not any 480. There's only gonna be single phase, electricity in the park. So, you could not run heavy equipment, not like I'm running down at the industrial park.
My question is, you said that was gonna, I'm pro-business, by the way. I'm for business in Groveland. I think we need business in Groveland. I think the idea is good. I think what I personally would like to see is, you said you're gonna have an association. are you gonna have any kind of bylaws or something stating that a guy that wants to go in there, I know you said you're Mr. Clean, but if he goes in and he wants to have fertilizer, or if he wants to store chemicals, like, I mean, he might be an oil guy, I don't know. Are you gonna have any kind of a covenant, a bylaw or something to your park that
Absolutely.
you're gonna state, well, you know?
Yeah, but you know, what you're gonna find in this park is probably what most people have in their homes or in their garages. There's nothing, you know, there's not gonna be any, you know, hazardous waste or things like that. Now, I'm very aware of that because that's, you know, I'm in the manufacturing business, and, you know, and believe me, you spend a lot of money trying to keep property clean, make sure you don't have a 21E problem. If you have a 21E problem, the value of the property goes down significantly. That's why that's why I want to be so involved with it, with day-to-day operation. What goes in, what goes out. I mean, we're gonna be looking at that all the time, every day. And somebody brings something in, wants to bring something in there, they're gonna be stopped and say, hey, sorry, that can't go in there. You know, that kind of supervision, it's just not, it's not gonna happen.
The gentleman in the back that, like, what's your name, sir?
How you doing? I'm Brian Lynch. I live at 31 7 Star Road. I just want to address a couple of points that the board brought up and that Eric brought up. As far as I can tell, as far as traffic goes, I'm a general contractor. I did business with Esty. I do business now with Jackson Lumber and a few other yards. I don't think the traffic's going to be anywhere near the volume we used to have at Esty, because I'm looking at this from a standpoint is I'd be a great tenant for this building. You know, I'm the type of guy that does have all this stuff in my garage, you know, ladders leaning against my fence in my yard, all that type of stuff that I'd love to have under one roof. So I guess I'm just, as a citizen of the town, as a business owner, I'm looking at it as a win. And I just want to put those couple things out there.
What'd you say your name was?
Brian Lynch. I'm a general contractor, I own my own business.
Where do you live?
7 Star Road. I mean, you can drive by my house and most times you see either a bobcat, a trailer, parked in my yard, you know, a ladder leaning up against my fence. I love to get that stuff out of the yard, you know.
I don't want it mine. I know. You want to keep talking, because the more you talk, the more you're in violation, so what
You know, it's,
So you got the excavator there as well?
No excavator, you know, I don't bring my lull home, you know, I don't have my box truck at home, you know, but sometimes you gotta do it, I bring the bobcat home in the winter for snow removal, you know what I mean? But, I have the option. But, all I'm saying is that, you know, it would help out with situations like that. It'd help out people like myself. You know, I have a business partner, he lives in Amesbury. His garage, his barn is full, my garage, my shed is full, you know, so it'd be nice to have it all under one roof, you know?
Are you intending to be his tenant?
I'd love to be one of his tenants. You know, and I've spoke with Eric, and he is the type of guy, from the impression I got from him, you know, things written in the lease, we violate it, it's at our peril. You know, he doesn't sound like the type of guy who's gonna let us go in there and take advantage of him, so.
Go ahead.
Jim Freer, Planning Board. We're in favor of it because we know there's a lot of, you know, garages and backyards full of stuff in the residential areas in this town. We think it's a pretty good idea that they have a place to store some stuff and let the backyard become a backyard. We worked with Eric over the years, and I worked with him when I was on the Board of Appeals. He's a great guy to work with, that's all I can tell you. We got a good one in this town, that's all I can say. I can't say anything bad about him one bit, so.
You can shut the cameras off if you'd like to.
Huh?
Turn the cameras off if you'd like to.
I think this is, it solves a lot of problems, is what it does.
I think the concept is great, don't get me wrong, but I'm looking at it as the current non-conforming use, which is, hasn't been open for at least a couple of years, so it could even argue that we're starting from scratch on a non-conforming use, it wouldn't be allowed, but I've been involved in other municipalities where, as long as the property was on the market, that was it grandfathered the non-conforming use. So I'm not adverse to that, but I
do have a legal opinion here, if you'd like it for the record.
Yeah, that would, yeah.
Yeah, there's a
No, I've been involved with these situations before, so I don't have a problem with it continuing non-conforming use, but I do,
I'll just give
think
you,
it's,
I'll
yeah,
just give you this.
you give
for
us
the
a,
record.
yeah. Yeah, while you're doing that, we have someone else who wanted to speak?
Yeah.
Go ahead, what's your name, sir?
Jim LaFrance, Wolf Lane. For one thing, that hasn't been constantly used, it was dormant for over a year.
Yeah.
And the second thing, the most important thing to me is, what are gonna be the hours of operation?
Well, let me look that up, somewhere over here. Yeah, I think that, you're right, it hasn't been operated on, in operation, excuse me, but it has been on the market for sale, so I think that would prevail in that particular concern. And the hours of operation proposed would be 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Saturday.
That isn't what it was when it was a lumberyard. It was 7 to 4:30, I think it was.
Yeah,
So
the
you're
hours,
drastically
10 p.m.
changing that.
seems to be a pretty heavy, a late night. And I'll just tell you that I've been retired again the second time, but I worked in a municipality in Pelham, New Hampshire, where I was the zoning enforcement officer, and I can tell you that a lot of the complaints we had were of non-conforming uses in residential zones. One of them happened to be a gentleman that built swimming pools, and he had a truck that he would come over and he would load the truck with sand, etc. And the tailgate would go bang, and it would be in late at night, that type of stuff. So I think that's a really legitimate concern, the hours of operation, because I don't recall Essie's being open till 10 o'clock in the evening.
They didn't even start till 7.
Yeah, so
And
that.
they never broke that law.
That
They were awesome.
seems like a pretty late night operation.
When Estes was open, let's say at 7 o'clock, could you hear things going on at Estes at that time?
No, because
Or when
Estes
they opened?
had at least, what would you say?
3 stacks of
So-
wood.
excuse me, what's your name, ma'am?
Diane LaFrance, Wharf Lane.
Okay,
When Estes was in operation, we bought our home in 1982. And they were fabulous neighbors. They were more than considerate of the neighborhood. They would store the lumber against the property line for the residential side. We never heard anything. A tree would fall, they would come and cut it down, whether it was on their side, our side. They were always kept it clean. The mill ran on the other side. It never, ever woke us up. They never started before 7. They didn't even have snow removal start before 7. And their yard shut down before the store did up front. You had to be in a half an hour before at the store to enter the yard. And all the traffic, which wasn't a lot, because it wasn't this big, huge lumber yard, it was on the other side, over by the tracks. So we were never bothered, and we raised a family of 4 children, very safe neighborhood. We didn't have any diesel trucks, no aluminum ladders, no guys coming in screaming and swearing and yelling and, slamming doors.
So it's a big change.
Yeah, it's a huge change
No,
for our
no,
small neighborhoods.
you're one of the 3 houses.
We had no neighborhood, no weekend work, and they closed at noontime on Saturday. Sorry, hold on.
I was just looking at, you live on
We're the
the
ones that
circle?
stick out.
Yeah, we're on the lane, not the drive.
The lane.
Okay, gotcha.
So in other words, the front of our house faces the Esty property
In our side lot.
and our entire side lot.
It's parallel with the property.
Correct. So we will be, half of our property is going to be affected by the headlights, the noise, the aluminum
I don't know if
ladders.
they can you turn that a little bit? I don't think they can see that from.
It's, this This is an isolated property. I'll guarantee you that I could be on that property.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't even know I was there.
Let's turn in, I'm not sure that
Don't
she's.
bet on that.
I don't know that,
Yeah, that's how nice our
It's a
neighborhood is.
it's a long way away. Now, I just wanted to tell you that, first of all, this is not a mini storage, okay? This is not mini storage, it's more controlled storage, but just, now, I'm gonna be in front of this board in probably a couple of months.
can you see this? I just,
No.
can you turn the
No,
angle
no,
a
no.
little so that they can see it as well? Thank you. The white area is over where, what's shown when they
This
live?
whole area is parking lot right now. You live right here.
No, we don't. We live way up at the
You
circle.
live right here.
Circle.
Exactly, right in the
Okay.
middle of it.
So this is all parking lot here, right now, okay? And the area I'm talking about is right here. It's not-
Parking lot for what?
This is all parking lot where Estes used to store all their lumber,
Where you're tearing down the,
right here.
that
So the area I'm talking about, this is gonna be an isolated area between you and this in commercial
Yeah,
area.
but we live up in the upper part
You
of
live
that.
right here, is where you live.
Yeah, and you know how it is, you
No,
can see
up-
right across.
yeah.
Yeah, you can see right across, but basically this is,
It's not isolated though, it's wide open.
well,
There's no isolation there at all.
What were Estes hours? Does anyone have the facts on that?
yeah, we got it, well,
Is that on the old permit?
you know,
I think it was 7 to 4, 7 to 4:30, but they were not open a full day
10
on
o'clock seems like
Saturday.
where did you come
Not
for that
at
number?
all on Sunday.
you know, I'm just thinking about people who are working for a living, they're out there, you know, trying to do the very best they can. And I just see somebody coming back to work, I mean, I used to be a workaholic, I know what it's like, just to drop off some stuff and leave, but there wouldn't be, at 10 o'clock, I'd say that the traffic there is gonna be very little. I go down the plow now at 10 o'clock. I'd be hard pressed, really hard pressed to go across 10 acres of pavement to shine my lights into somebody's window.
Well, I didn't say that, I said the noise. I don't care about the lights.
You wouldn't even hear me down there.
Oh, I know it.
Last summer,
So isolated. It's
How
really,
can that
really.
be isolated? It's wide
Hold on.
open to my property. It's not isolated at all.
Sir, we're not gonna carry on a conversation on this.
Well, I don't even be that crap either.
Yeah, well,
Isolated, I'm sick of hearing that.
well, I think that what the point he's making, which is legitimate, is that there are, I didn't realize that these are a future, is that what it is, future proposed
Yes,
properties?
yes.
There's gonna be a buffer of, I don't know what these are, it's A, B, C proposed structures, I guess.
Right.
That will be accessed by a road off Main Street, and you will eventually be one street removed, so it's not gonna be that you're abutting any of this particular proposal. If you,
That's down the road though, you can't, you're assuming that right now.
well,
That's my
but
guarantee.
it's on the plan, it's in, and I believe it's in the pipeline, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
I've heard that it's been to the planning board, I don't know that for a fact, but I heard that it has, and
Well, I can tell you where we're at right now. The
Yeah.
proposal has been submitted to the state. It's supported by the selectmen and supported by the Affordable Housing Committee and supported by the Conservation Commission. So it's in the, we'll be in front of you, within, what, 2 months, 3 months? Yeah, at the latest.
yeah, so that, what Eric is saying, if I can call you Eric, I can't.
Thank you, Tom.
What he's saying is that currently, that's vacant land, and there's gonna be 3 buildings, and I don't know how big they are, but they're gonna be substantial buildings that are gonna be between you and this proposal. Now, I don't know if there's any, at the end of A, if there are any proposed screenings along that property, or there's a fence. I guess there's a fence that's gonna go the whole way
Yeah.
around this.
There's a fence there now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not soundproof.
No,
No, I know, but
Well,
there is
but-
a physical
yeah.
fence there now.
But
There is.
with the type of construction that you're gonna be proposing, are you gonna do more of a decorative type
There's
of
a, there's a substantial landscaping that takes place in this area here, for that particular reason. What we're trying to do is create a buffer for this neighborhood here, so all of this area here is all, it's gonna be nicely treed and landscaped. All around here, actually all around the whole property. And I have a landscaping plan, I just don't have it with me, because all I wanted to do is bring this to your attention, because it gives you an overview, and I know when I was on some of these boards, somebody would come in and just talk about something, and we'd say, what are you gonna do with the rest of it? What are you gonna do with the rest of it? Nobody would ever tell us. So this is the overview of the entire plan.
Yeah, so that, what's gonna happen is that between your property and the proposal that we're talking about tonight, there's gonna be 3 substantially large buildings that are gonna be built there. Are they?
Yeah, they're apartments, correct?
Yeah, these are
These Section 8 apartments?
These are apartment buildings.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be buildings there that's going to definitely serve as a buffer between you and this proposal. So I'm not sure that that's gonna be a legitimate reason to be, you know, upset about. Is there anyone else that has any other comments? Go ahead.
Michael France, 1 Wharf Lane, Groveland.
Yep.
I just wanted to ask you guys, because I don't know, but I don't believe there are any other businesses in town that are open till 10 o'clock at night. I mean, if I drive through downtown, everything's closed by 9, and that's commercial.
I think 9 o'clock is a reasonable, I don't have a problem.
This is downtown, I'm not talking about
Yeah.
where you're proposing to put this, in a residential neighborhood. I'm just saying, as precedent in town, there's nothing open that late.
You're talking about contractors, is that what we're talking about, like builders and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I just,
So
yeah.
you think that, do you think that they would come in at that time? I mean, I used to build houses, and
Yeah.
after Little League games, I would watch
I don't
the
know,
park.
if they're like me, they would.
You mentioned controlled access.
Yes.
How do you control access? Is there gonna be like a gate with a
Yes, there's gonna be a gate.
someone standing there?
If you look at this area here, this is a controlled access, but, basically, there's a gate right here.
Right.
This is the caretakers, where the caretaker would be.
Right.
Okay, and he'd manage what would go on here, so they'd have access to this gate, but they'd be.
That's not where the gate.
Personal access, there'd be somebody there
There'd be
back,
somebody
okay.
there.
That's not where the
all the
gate
time.
is now.
No, the gate's
the
close
gate,
to the
the
building.
gate is up here now.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
gonna be moving back here,
Okay.
okay?
And what happens with that first building? I can't see the number of it.
A?
Yeah, what happens with that building?
Well, that building is, under renovation right now. Not yet, but it will be soon, and the parking for that building is gonna move up to the back.
Now, what will that be?
Yeah, what's gonna be?
It's gonna be retail. It's gonna be retail like, maybe, who's that guy who was in here, an orthodontist? Maybe an orthodontist, or a chiropractor, or a beauty salon, or a
Service businesses.
nail boutique, or a lawyer's office, or a accounting office, or a, management office.
So, okay.
But there is sufficient room there for, probably up to six tenants.
I got you.
Now, is that lot, 1 not gonna be used until you proceed with the Plan B, phase? I mean, you have concerns about noise and distance, so is that not gonna be used? Are you gonna put up a barrier there to kinda cordon that off, or, I mean, or is that just?
I really don't feel that the noise is a valid, I mean, I hear what they're saying, but I really.
I'm pro-business too, but I mean, 10
Correct.
o'clock, the contractors unloading the trucks, I mean, I think that's a valid concern. And
I know it is.
There is a legal
I've been on the other
standard,
side of the fence.
and the legal standard is whether or not it's more what?
Yeah.
More burdensome or more,
Yeah. Yeah,
so-
I mean, it has to be, it has
So
to
to go
be,
from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock seems like a giant leap of, a burden in
you know,
terms
it
of,
has to be
of
less,
traffic and noise.
equal to or less than the prior use. So I'm not sure that,
I
those
don't
hours-
even think we'll even come close to what was there before.
Well, they didn't,
fully.
they worked half a days on Saturdays, I mean, you know, they weren't even open all day on Saturday, so you're looking at 6 to 10, that seems like a large window in a, this is not a commercial zone, this is a residential zone.
Yeah, this would be in a much lighter use though, much lighter use.
I'm not sure the landscape is in the contract.
Like this
or
gentleman down
something.
here, he says he's got a Bobcat. Now, you know, if he wants to put a Bobcat down there, he's gonna start that up and load it on a trailer and get it out of there. I mean, that.
And staging is.
And you're gonna tow it in there with a diesel truck on.
And then you're gonna, you know, you're gonna stack ladders or whatever. That's a noise issue. That just, you know, the lumber that was sitting in there, like I said, that lumber didn't make the noises that this, you know, 18 units are gonna generate.
There's a YouTube video of the lumberyard in action, and I invite you to take a look at it.
I have a young lady up back that wants to speak.
My name is Carol Clement, and
Yeah.
I own a business in Groveland since 1985, New England Environmental Technologies.
Yeah.
And we were located in an area of town, right in the center of town on Main Street for many, many years. Residential was right next door to us. We did have limited hours of operation. We relocated because we downsized quite considerably, basically due to the economy and business going in that direction. And it was hard to find space and stay in town. And most of you probably know that my husband was fire chief for many years and really needed to be in town. So we were able to relocate. Hi, Eric. We were able to relocate up on Salem Street behind the Cafe 97. And we have a nice office suite there. And it's hard though to have a place where you can be, where you may have some equipment, may not be heavy equipment, but you may have some equipment that just doesn't fit in an office. So I think it's a great idea that Mr. Harper has.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Right,
But,
but also my point is that, well, I haven't made my point yet.
Go ahead, make it.
I'm also.
What about the hours? mean,
I
that's
also
my
happen to
concern,
be
the
a
hours.
neighbor of Mr. Harper because I bought the industrial park. I walk through the industrial park. I've been in the industrial park. I even looked at the industrial park when I was moving my business. It is pristine. It is clean. He's been a great neighbor. I hope I'm as good a neighbor to he is to us. As far as hours of operation, there's just an occasional time maybe when a business person may have to come back at a later than usual hour. And to have a huge restriction on that is a little bit cumbersome. You know, it's not a typical thing, but there might be a time when you're caught at a job site and you spend an extensive amount of time there because of circumstances.
Well, you know,
I think there are things that can be done to.
You're right, except that I've actually been on the other side of the fence, and in the wintertime, it gets dark around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, 3, 4 o'clock afternoon. So you have to stop a little earlier in the wintertime. So between 3 or 4 till 10, that's quite a window. Say from 4 to 10 to come back to the over there, and then in the summertime, it does stay lighter, but even at 9 o'clock it starts to get a little dark, and then after the summer it starts going the other way there, and 10 o'clock is it late? And I'm going to tell you that I know from personal experience that this is going to be a problem, because it's quiet at night in the summertime, and they're going to be in there making noise, and the neighbors on both sides are going to say, hey, wait a minute, this is a residential area, and granted, there's a fence company across the street, but they're not open until 10 o'clock at night.
This is true.
They're not, I don't even know if they're open weekends.
No, just Saturday.
And then we're faced with a situation, it's a zoning issue, and we gotta be cognizant of the people and their concerns, and try to at the same time, make it work, although it's been pretty quiet for a couple of years, and I'm sure that that hasn't been gone unnoticed with the neighbors. But nevertheless, I think that,
I mean, maybe there could be some restrictions, like no unloading after a certain hour.
yeah.
Something to that
It
effect.
becomes, it's what happens, it becomes an enforcement issue. And I can tell you from where the street I live on, there is an issue where something was granted, and the people were supposed to not come by the house in a certain direction. Well, 2 or 3 people down the line have bought the property, and they could care less about the people who lived on a dead-end street for 30, 40 years. And it's an enforcement issue. So here's a place where you have to start and try to make sure that this doesn't happen to a non-conforming use, this changing to another non-conforming use, and try to keep it as similar as the original one, so that we don't get complaints in the town and have the same situation that the people on the street I live in.
Absolutely agree with that.
So, I mean, it's not that, I'm personally, I think it's a great idea. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the fact is, the charge of the board is to enforce the ordinance as written and to try to keep everything as similar as the existing. And I think the biggest issue, at least for me, is the hours of operation.
I agree. I think it's the issue there is that, the contract is, and again, I could say it 1,000 times, I'm pro-business and I am. You gotta act within reason here. Contractors have diesel trucks, and you're running the trucks till 10 o'clock, you're after supper time. This board is quasi-judicial. We have to follow a legal standard and apply that equally to everyone that comes before us. So the pre-existing use of that property, they had limited hours, and to go from 4:30 or 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I mean, that's a significant increase in the use of that property for business purposes. Yeah, I agree with you that the use is pretty similar. What's the difference between the lumberyard loading up your truck or you loading up your own lumber off your own pallets in a sectioned off chain link fence type area with your landscapers or your masons picking up their brickwork? But supper time for most people is 5 or 6 o'clock. I work till midnight. I'm a CPA, and I probably go back to the office when I'm done here. But it's different than just car doors coming to go to the retail. You get their business in the front there, and if you're going to have accountants or lawyers in there, that might be one thing. But the contractors towing in the Bobcat or the backhoe or the excavator, they're pulling in there with a diesel truck, and they're going to make a lot of noise after supper time. So I think that's a concern, and somehow you got to look at that, or
I think it's not only at supper time, I think it's 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, but I can
That
tell you,
would not be happy about that.
from personal experience and job experience, that this is an issue. It really is. It's an issue because the road to hell was paved with good intention. and as clean as you can be and as sharp as you can be, the fact of the matter is, these guys are gonna do what they're gonna do, and the neighbors are gonna be upset about it. And so we gotta minimize that before, the hours, I think, is gonna be a big issue here, But Bill, go ahead.
As most people know, I have a business in town. I'm in the industrial commercial zone in Groveland. Many years ago, I came before the zoning board, it wasn't this board, and I was up front. I have snowplows, I have sanders, I go out 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they said, listen, we really can't say too much about you down there because you're in the commercial zone, you're in the right zone. What they did is they wrote my bylaws up, and they put me to I think it was I wanna say 7 o'clock. But then I said, listen, I can't have that. I'm in the business of landscaping and sanding and salting, and I've gotta be able to go in and out of there. So the board talked about it, and the board said, listen, they went to the guidelines of the zoning of what I was in. I was in the right zoning, so they really couldn't. So what I did is I said to them, listen, when you write it up that I will try to be make it as best I can and just use it for snow plowing. So they wrote it up, and they basically said my hours were for a certain amount of time. I want to say it was 6 o'clock, and they said winter hours could go to because I was in that business. Winter hours could go to this 10, 11 o'clock, whatever it was when I was coming in and out of there. But the point I'm trying to make is, like I tried to make with you earlier, was do you want to look at the kind of businesses going in there? you know, certain businesses you make, like you said earlier, I don't want certain businesses in there. So maybe the businesses that would go in there would be more mom and pop electrical contractors, you know, not heavy contractors, something on that line. I don't know if you can do that. And then keep your hours down to a good set of hours where it wouldn't bother the neighbors, you know what I'm saying? And I think these buildings that are proposed to go in there are definitely gonna help buffer the neighbors. I'm sure they don't wanna see what's going on in there, but I'm sure that will do it in the landscaping, but still to try and find a happy medium between both parties is what we're trying to come at.
Yeah, well, it was brought to my attention that, you know, I'm thinking of hours of access versus hours of operation. I mean, you know, it's, you know, I don't know, what do you have in mind? I mean, I'd asked for 10 o'clock, whatever it was.
I think, you know, 4:30, no. I would seem to be,
But you think,
7 o'clock would be.
This gentleman really has a, you know, he has a good grasp of what his needs are. Because that's basically, you know, the same kind of people are going to, same kind of businesses are gonna be there.
I think what you gotta really realize here is that we have to get back to this 106, and this is the, you know, not more detrimental than what was there. And if their hours were 7 to 4 and 7 to 1 on Saturdays, and all of a sudden you wanna come in 6 to 10, that's quite a stretch.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Was
Make it easy.
SB Lumber restricted to those hours, or did they pick those hours? Because I always thought it was strange.
Well, I don't know if it was restricted, but that's what the hours were.
Well, I always thought it was strange that they closed on Saturday at noontime. It made no sense to me.
But see, the thing is, that's what they did, so the board has to say, well, is the proposal equal to or less than what was there? Now, I think the use is a great idea. I think that the use, we had no problem with the use. I think you're taking care of the neighbors on the right-hand side. Eventually, that's gonna be greatly improved from what's there, not a problem. But I think that the biggest issue, from I think the rest of the board is these hours of operation. And all bets are off in an emergency. If for some reason, some guy said, geez, I've gotta have that now, cause you know, those things are understandable because, hey, you had a fire, I got plywood in here, I gotta go fix this house up, and I gotta get in at 10 o'clock, 11, whatever. Those are not a problem.
Except more exceptions than.
Yeah, but to actually say, these are the hours that we want to have to access to the property for 18 buildings, I think is probably unrealistic in a residential zone.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that, the kind of activity down there at all.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let me tell you, now wait. Now, the people that the planning board, I'm sure, didn't anticipate the activity that I'm experiencing on the street I live in.
I don't know, where do you live?
Well,
I
live in the same street as the fire chief lives on, and you know, there was a condition that the people in Whitestone was going to just use that street as a exit only. But there's, I can tell you right now, it used to be a dead-end street, and there's probably, you know, 35, 40 cars that come down that street on a daily basis. And the lady beside us has trees in there, so you try to get out of your driveway, and you got cars coming down, and they think it's the Indianapolis Speedway, till they get down their speed bumps that has a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit. So from the top of the hill to them, it's a 30-mile-an-hour speed to get there. So the problem is enforcement, and so this is where it has to be stopped right here before it starts, so you don't have a problem. And I think the hours, Eric, I think your idea, everything else is great, but the hours of operation is a problem. It's a major problem to me, anyways, and I don't know. I think the rest of the board feels the same way.
Can we get a motion from someone else?
The thing is I think.
Can you tell us your name for the record?
I'm Christopher T. Reddy. I'm on 118 7 Star Road.
Oh, thank you very
Come
much.
over anytime.
Yeah.
But there's 18 buildings there, so essentially there's 18 different businesses. If someone's going to go at 10 o'clock, it's not like 18 guys are going to show up at 10 o'clock and unload their truck. I think it's going to be very rarely almost on an emergency or, hey, I work late tonight. And to restrict him, you know, hey, you can't come in after 10, I think you kinda tying his hands on who can be in there.
There's gonna be more than 18, he's gonna divide some of those buildings.
But I don't think these people are all gonna show up
But once
at
you allow
once.
them, they're going to take advantage and they'll.
You gotta make a set hours, you have to do it, you can't.
10
change it.
o'clock at night.
It's too
I
late.
mean, we're a dead end, off a dead end, with the river behind us. It's very serene, it's quiet.
It's residential.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
very-
residential, period.
2 football fields.
I mean, there's no football fields near it.
And,
Is there anyone else in the audience who wants to speak? Because we're gonna close the hearing. Anyone else wanna speak on it? I think we got the gist of the issue. Go ahead.
You can come up with hours, and you can do it subject to recall if enough complaints are heard.
Well, the problem.
And I'm reasonable. I'm not
Yeah,
looking-
I understand,
I'm-
but the problem is that, and as you know, the problem is that, the recall is the person, the person that's responsible for that, is not responsible for that. I'll leave it at that. And I hope I'm not being too redundant.
I think we just have to stick with what the legal standard is, bottom line.
So it becomes an enforcement issue, and I frankly am not in the mindset of approving a problem when I know for a fact from my experience that this could be a problem. So with that in mind, I'm gonna close the hearing, and do we have any other comments?
I mean, you know, I mean, I know from, I have a lot of clients that are contractors, and many of them, when they're not busy as landscapers, they snowplow during the winter. So if the snowstorms at 2 in the morning, you get access to your Bobcat, your backhoe, and your front end loader, and your sanding machine, and you need 24-hour access. I mean, somewhere you gotta park the trucks, and when you need the truck, you gotta get the truck. So,
But this is a residential zone.
I understand that, so that's what I'm saying, is I wanna, you know, somewhat, you know, how can you, you know, I mean, if you restrict it, that you have to lock the gate at, you know, whether it be 7 or 8 or 9, whatever people agree on, I mean, it's gotta lock the doors. I mean, to just leave the door open and say, well, you know, exceptions to the rule, I mean, it's a slippery slope. People are gonna push the limit on it. I wasn't born yesterday. People are gonna push the limit, and you're gonna say, you know, hey, it's an emergency, we had a snowstorm, and you got, 20 trucks coming and going out of, that location. So, I mean,
And if it's anything like this winter,
you know,
it's 40 times a week.
Part of me as a businessman would like to say, we don't need any regulations, and we should be 24/7, and it's, your own land, you should do what you want, but we have legal standards, and it's a residential neighborhood, and it's a tremendous expansion of what was existing prior to. I don't think we have a authority or a jurisdiction to expand that.
Any other comments?
No, can I just
Go
ask
ahead.
a question?
You certainly may.
How many people in this room live in a neighborhood where somebody is a plumber, an electrician, a contractor? And they never make noise?
Yeah, you don't
They
have
never get in,
21
they
of
never
them next.
have supplies, they never have,
Yeah, but excuse me, but some of the space that he's gonna have there is gonna be for static storage. He's not gonna have every building full of contractors, trucks,
well, I
and
understand.
bulldozers. There's gonna be a lot of it, probably 50% of it, or maybe 60% of it's gonna be static storage. People are gonna have a section of a building where they're gonna store some of their equipment, but they're not gonna be there every damn day going in there. I mean, I think it's getting blown out of proportion here, but if you wanna restrict hours.
Hold on, let me tell you.
No, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, see, we're not blowing anything out of proportion, but our charge is, as the Board of Appeals, is to adhere to the ordinance as it's written.
Right.
And as it's written, it says that it has to be substantially, shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use, the neighborhood.
So what you have to do is.
So
is
if
come up
the
with some
prior
type of
business was
hours.
open from, say, 7 to 4:30, and the new operation, which has at least 18 people
Where
renting
did you
them.
come up with a 7 to 4:30?
Can we find out what the
Maybe that was
existing
their
permit
retail.
hours? Because
That was
I
their
think,
retail operation,
I-
that's it.
can we find out what the existing, what the previous hours were?
Yeah, they were 7 to 4:30.
No,
No, I don't know.
that was the retail section up front.
Fine.
Yeah.
Only.
This is,
I used to work there, I know
here's
how
the
it
decision for SD Lumber.
Yeah, let's look at it.
It says, there's no hours on here.
No?
And it says the following stipulations are, I don't know what it was before.
Well, they went there till 10 o'clock at night. The mill wasn't open at 10 o'clock at night.
No, it was closed at 4. I used to work in the mill, so I know the hours there.
The only issue I have is the hours.
That's
I-
all-
I-
We need to figure out what the facts are, because bad facts make bad decisions. So
Right.
what were the pre-existing hours, and then apply the law to
Well, I
that
don't necessarily know
and
that
see whether or not it's
they're-
more or
the
less
hours were
detrimental to
documented.
the neighborhood. I mean, that's the standard. We can't make it up as we go here. That's the judicial standard of review. This is quasi-judicial. We're not an executive function that hands out permits without following standards. So I don't think we have clarity on what those hours were.
Well, I mean, I think they was, I think it was,
They're not documented on the
They're
previous
not
decisions.
documented on the
No.
previous decision.
That's.
well, they weren't open till 10 o'clock at night, I can tell you that. That just didn't
Well, I guess what they're saying is legally, what were they allowed
Correct.
versus
Right.
what were they actually practicing?
Exactly.
Right.
Can I
I mean,
just
what
say
we
one
legally
But then
allow,
when you go
most
with-
people, you know, a lot of them may not, they may have those hours documented in their permits, but they may not.
Like the
Use
general,
them.
like the orthodontist who wanted 7 days.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna be open 7 days, so they may have done something similar, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
He may not
We
have practically been
recognize-
open
Correct.
7 days a week.
What's that?
We have a statement in the ordinance.
Oh,
Go ahead.
If Estes was open today and it was in competition with the Home Depot, what do you think its hours would be?
Yes, exactly.
That's probably what Chuck.
I can tell you right now, it's what made that fail really was
Exactly.
they didn't stay in competition. Because they didn't understand.
No,
But the
and-
reality
but
is.
see-
They didn't have economy of scale either, you know? I mean,
But you
come
know,
on.
what you're saying
You're
is,
talking David versus Goliath.
I'm not saying you keep the thing open 24/7, but.
so you're making my point though. The fact is, they weren't open that late.
There would
You
be a
know,
choice. What would they be, is what I said today.
Well, that's speculative.
Yeah, that's-
We
yeah, I
we
mean,
can't
you
use
know-
speculation to make a
What,
decision.
mean,
what
what-
would be a reasonable compromise?
Right.
Because we're going around in circles.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
and
let's get to
I don't wanna make
compromise.
a motion.
7 and 7.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with 7 to 7. But the 10 o'clock is, to me, is an issue in a residential zone.
10 o'clock would violate our job here to review under the legal standard.
I think so.
It would be a violation of our duty.
I mean, I'm willing to compromise if the board would accept that. And at the same time, I understand emergencies. An emergency is an emergency, and that's not an issue, but the problem is, if it becomes an enforcement issue, we have to have some standards that at least makes it compatible with the ordinance. And I think 7 to 7 is still 12 hours in the day. And I don't think that's an unreasonable hour for that type of operation. But,
Can I say something?
no, we've closed the hearing. Thank you. What, go ahead, Joe.
My point that I would make would be 7 to 7, I think would be fine. If not everyone that is in there that works is gonna be coming in there all at once, their snowplow, because he's talking about different contractors and what have you. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna have all the people coming in there that
No, I
late.
understand that.
So I think 7 to 7 would be fine. My question would be, you said about protecting this board, I look at it like this, does each and every one of those persons that go in there, do they have to come back before this board? Or is this gonna be an overlay of this whole park?
No, we're not gonna, no one's gonna come back. We changed that, we addressed that a
Okay, so
couple
I
months
mean,
ago.
if he made it 7 to 7, and if someone went in there, and went in there and the neighbors complain, then it's gonna become either a police issue, or they're gonna call and complain.
No, that becomes an issue that's an issue that isn't an issue because the issue doesn't become an issue. So
Right.
it's just not it's not a good process to.
It's a zoning enforcement issue.
Yeah, it's a zoning enforcement issue that doesn't become an enforcement issue, so that we really need to take care of it right here. So, with that in mind, did you have the number of employees? I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Your number of employees?
I only see a couple of.
2 employees? And how about signage?
I would, you know, I'll tell you, the signage that's there is gonna stay there, whatever is existing, and I think it's like 5 by 10. The sign that's in the front of the property.
And parking, there's plenty of parking.
Plenty of parking.
Yeah, plenty of
15
parking.
acres of pavement down there. And, you know, I would say employees, you know, there could be 3. So I would.
3. And any deliveries, we don't know what type of pickups or.
No, I wouldn't wanna restrict deliveries. I mean, they've had all, you can see the use down there has been.
Well, we're not talking 18-wheelers in there.
It's been, well, you know, in the past, there was plenty of big trucks in there. Plenty of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wanna restrict the type of deliveries that are in the community. There's no contention on that. There was huge trucks down there.
Okay, so, all types. How about lighting down there?
There is perimeter lighting, but everything has been.
Are they cut off luminaire?
It's all been turned down, like if you
Okay.
see that the lighting on the front building, it's turned down, the lighting on the back is kind of out to the back, so that it prevents, you know.
Do you happen to have in your mind or right there, what are the maximum square foot of those buildings? All
Yeah,
of them?
yeah, I do. The sizes are right on the.
I know that, but do you know what they are? I don't know.
Oh, you're asking for the total?
Oh, for the
Total, yeah.
Oh, it's about 70,000 square feet. Yeah.
Okay, well, use this one when I'm doing it.
You don't trust my mind?
No,
Add it up?
no. Okay,
He's right.
so you're proposing to reestablish a retail in the front building A?
Yes, in building A.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the special permit, and what do we call this, Estes Park?
It's Estes Park Business Association.
Okay. Estes Park Business Association with the hours of operation of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. With a maximum number of employees of 3, sign would be utilizing existing signage, parking, obviously plenty of parking on the property now. The material deliveries will be all types of vehicles. And the lighting is currently cut off luminaire. We're working on the maximum square foot. The retail office use will be building A, will reestablish retail of the former Estes Lumber building. All submitted plans will become part of this agreement. If the proposal is in the Aquifer Protection District, the applicant shall meet all requirements as deemed necessary by the Groveland Planning Board, subject to all Groveland Board of Health and Rules and Regulations, subject to all laws, regulations, inspections, and others of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Special permit is subject to recall if the board receives any written complaints. No action, any variance, special permit, or any extension, modification, or renewal thereof shall take effect until a copy of the decision is recorded in the Essex Southern District Registry of Deeds for the county and the district in which the land is located, and indexed in the index under the name of the owner, or is recorded and noted on the owner's certificate of title, and the receipt of said transaction delivered to the building inspector prior to the issuance of a permit. If the rights authorized for this applicant or the property owner said special permit are not exercised within 2 years from the date of granting of the special permit, filing date with the town clerk, the board's decision and such special permit rights shall become null and void unless a substantial use thereof is commenced, except for good cause, or in case of a permit for construction, if the construction is not yet begun by such date for good cause. And how much you get per square foot?
7,000.
You're a little off. 57,056.
066.
57,066 square feet. That's
You added that up right.
that's a total of all your buildings, okay?
You use the new math.
I don't
We
know.
use- we
I
use
think we
this-
should have let the
we use
CPA do
this,
it, I don't know why we got me doing it.
I use the Staples calculator here, and my custom
Let me
assistant.
do it.
And it's a little late, but at any rate, and I'll put in parentheses, existing buildings as of today's date, which is 3/5?
Yes.
3/5/2014. Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Second, Chris. Any further discussion?
Can I just ask
Go ahead.
a question?
Go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt you when you
It's
were
okay, yeah.
writing that.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking that, just shortly ago, we approved Dr. Bowden from 7 AM to 8:30 PM in a residential area.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that we could?
He was one building, one person utilizing
I
one
understand
building.
that.
This is a different operation. It's not the same thing.
I know it's not the same thing. That's my only comment.
Okay,
That would be more reasonable.
yeah.
It would.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
Who's voting
Who we got?
Yeah, wait,
Yeah, who
who's
is
voting?
Who's voting?
What is it, 7 to 7?
7 to 7, yes.
I'll go on it.
Okay,
7 to 7.
7, we got 3, 4, 4, 4.
Is everybody voting?
No, just
No,
5
just
of
the
us.
regular
Five
of us.
Regulars. So we got 5-0, all in favor. We approved it for 7 to 7.
7 to 7.
7 to 7.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah,
Thank
now
you,
do you know
Kathy.
you want
Thank you, Dan.
you want her to-
Jan. And thank you,
Yeah,
Chris.
he knows.
You-
I'll contact him.
Mike and Bill. Thank you. Julie, thank you.
Look at all I did.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
your consideration, we appreciate
okay,
it.
thank you.
We
So we
know
have a
there's a
5-minute
lot
recess?
more coming.
We'll take a 5-minute recess. I need a 5-minute recess. We're not done yet.
Yeah, can we stretch our legs?
Can we have a second?
5 minutes.
Reopen the zoning board
Second.
of appeals meeting at 9:53.
I second it.
Okay? All those in favor? Okay.
Aye.
All right. Charlie, we're all set? Chris, and then we're all set. We're gonna, the minutes, we need the minutes. Just turn the minutes down. While we're reviewing the minutes, let me just quickly, in passing, just tell you what I did on the draft for the new application. So if you guys can review that for the next meeting, it's actually just broken down into three pieces now, where you have the appeal front page, which tells you that you check it might be a request for a special permit or dimensional variance, and I think I might have misspelled on this, the alleged erroneous decision of the building inspector. And then you write a brief statement as to why you want it. And if you need more information, you could write it on the back. And then all you do is there's just gonna be 3 pieces of paper. One is a special permit, which has the exact language out of the ordinance that you have to answer in the middle. And then the variance, those 1, 2, 3 questions are exactly out of Chapter 40A, Section 10. So they answer those 3 questions. And then there's a sign-off sheet, which is the same as before. The only difference is that in the building inspector, I made it a little easier, and I just said to review the application with respect to the responses to all the questions on the application. So read it over. I cleaned up some of the language in the front page, and hopefully we can discuss it at the next meeting, okay? Now,
I lost my copy of it somehow, I don't know, maybe
Here.
Dan stole it.
I got it.
Or maybe you stole my, look at,
Wait, no, take this one.
you
so long.
No, I've had a couple of questions. So, well, we also have, second thing is we have, some bills to pay. And, one of them is, Julie House, the administrative assistant bill for $832.15. Oops, and also Eagle Tribune in the amount of $1,023.40. And the minutes now. We need a motion to approve the minutes of January 15th, 2014. Make a motion, we need a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second, Dan, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. We have to sign.
Yes, I know, we'll come back. So take a look at this proposed application and give me your thoughts. Oh, put this with it, this goes with the, with that last one.
And a red. Sign away there?
That's all right.
I see, does this come out in the classes?
Yeah.
Here you go. All right, last one.
Charlie, I'll put those. I'll put those. I'm not picking your ass up off the ground.
He's a new guy on the board, he can do that.
Where is it? Oh, yeah. Did you know they open Sunday morning? That was good.
Don't we do everything?
I have a question. Bill?
Bill?
The information, you got all the information for, in the mail, that, and your email and all that? Okay.
Yep. I got that
Okay.
packet, I emailed, yep.
And another question too is, I did see, I send them out PDF. Do you want me to do that from now on, or do you want me to send it out by mail?
Mail. My computer doesn't, sometimes doesn't.
Buy a new computer.
Well, it says printer, really.
What do you put?
Yeah, it is the printer.
What do you got, tubes in it?
Because I did both. I said I was gonna do PDF, and then let me know if you needed me to copy it, but I ended up copying them all and sending them out anyway, so.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask, Bill, you did get sworn at, right?
Yeah, he did. I checked.
Can I ask a question?
You're gonna order some books? I still haven't got my book.
I'll bring mine next time, I'm sorry.
I don't wanna borrow.
What?
I didn't get back the other book yet from the guy that had it prior.
Do you expense the ink and the paper and stuff anyway for all that you do? Right? So why can't she just, why can't she just print up all the things and just keep printing copies
Yeah.
for people and getting to us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kinda like that, because it all comes together in one package, I just sit down
That's
and go
fine.
through
I'll
it.
Yeah,
keep doing it. That's
I
fine.
kinda like
I
that.
think that's
And I'm a
really the best way to
technical
go.
person.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll make a motion that we approved Julie House 832.15.
I second
Any
it.
discussion, second? All's in favor?
Aye.
Say that again? Oh, yeah.
Come on, you were supposed to vote.
Eagle Tribune.
Opposed.
$1,023.40. Second?
Second.
Chris, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I make a motion that we adjourn at 10 o'clock.
I second that.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Charlie.
Put in for overtime.